G'day legends, the team over at Kiive Audio have been super busy cooking up a new plugin for you guys, and I gotta tell you, it's a real treat. Now this plugin is called the NFUSE, and by having a look at it, I think you can tell what we're working with here. We've got something that looks a little bit like the Neve MBT, and then this one here that looks just like our SSL Fusion, which I'm very familiar with because I have the physical hardware sitting right in front of me. So it's going to be fun to try this out and see how it stacks up against the real thing, and I'm pretty certain it's going to be pretty good. So what we're going to do is apply this to a couple of groups in the mix and see how far we can push it and what kind of sound we can get out of the NFUSE. Okay, so here's a project, and it's pretty raw. I haven't done much on this at all. I'm about to start mixing this project actually. So if we take a look, the channel strips are pretty empty. This is pretty much how we left it on the day that we tracked it. So this is a song that I'm producing with an artist called Kemy, and I'll put a link below to where you can check out her stuff online.
So I trust you, oh I trust you, look I trust you. Sometimes.
So you can hear there's a lot going on, some jungly kind of drum stuff, like a real drive and groove, some fun guitars, lots of vocals, but at the moment it's a little muddy and messy sounding. So let's see what we can do with this. Let's start with the drums, see if we can add a bit of life to these. Okay, so I've just loaded this on our drum bus, so let's see what this can do. High pass filter. So we got two modes of saturation, dark and red. Digging that red silk. I have some Neve tape emulators with the red silk, and that sounds very similar to what it does, bring some nice presence to it. Xena drive, that sounds kind of cool. I'm just gonna leave that pretty much cranked for now. These drums don't have much done to them yet, so they need a bit of excitement added. Some shelf EQ. Liking that fast release on the compressor. Don't really need much makeup gain going on there. Sidechain filter, we can just let a little bit of this low end through. Let's have a listen to what this is doing so far. That's sounding pretty good already. That's a pretty nice stereo widener. Like even cranked, it doesn't sound that bad. Like, you know, when you push a stereo widener really far, it really starts to sound gross. That's kind of sounds alright. I'd even kind of around to here sounds pretty good. I dig that. We can high pass the widening effect, so we can sort of decide which part of the signal gets widened out. I'm liking that. Now I know what you're all thinking. Got to level match it, so let's do a quick level match. Sounds great. It's bringing it to life. It's taking away like the muddiness and like just making the drums sound exciting and lively. If you guys enjoying the video so far, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's do some processing on our bass. All right, so for the bass, we're going to use the Fusion module, and you can switch between the Neve and the Fusion just by clicking this switch on the side here. And another cool feature is you can change any of these modules between the Neve and the Fusion just by clicking up the top here. So you can really mix and match and just get the best of the best and pull a really creative sound. Up the top here, you've got the ability to order your signal chain. So if you want an EQ first, you could do that, and then you could go into dynamics and then saturation. Or if you want a dynamics first, EQ, and then saturation, you can switch it up. So really cool that you can do that and set the signal flow yourself. There's also oversampling all the way up to 16 times, and then there is a mode link. All right, let's play with this bass sound. Liking that, just bringing a little bit of clarity to the bass. Sounds real punchy. It's a mono signal, so the stereo imager is not going to do anything. Sounds great. Brings the bass to life. Really nice. All right, next up we have a marimba. With this one, we might do a bit of a mix and match and just see what sounds best between the Fusion and the Neve module. Like that kind of gluey, grabby kind of sound there of the medium attack and the medium release. Definitely add some nice clarity to the marimba. Let's hear that with our bass and drums. Sounds sick. All right, over to acoustic guitar. That red silk's just magic. Got a mix knob here. High ratio sounds pretty good. That's great. That's awesome. Let's hear that with everything. All right, let's take a look at some electric guitars now. I reckon we thin these out a little bit. Probably prefer the Neve on this one because we can get down a bit lower to around 3K to kind of get a bit of presence out of the guitar. That's pretty cool. So the trick with the space knob is it kind of boosts the low mids in the side of the mix, and it can create this nice widening effect, but it can also sometimes make things sound a little bit muddy if there's already a lot of that stuff going on in the mix. And sometimes doing the opposite and cutting a little bit can make the mix sound a little bit more open and make a bit more room. So that's what we're doing here. See that with everything? Sounding pretty cool. Let's bypass it. Sounding pretty cool. This is definitely bringing the mix to life without doing much processing at all. Just processing the top down and all these things. Let's do a little bit of vocal processing.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are Lord of every door that opens or closes, so and things make no sense when I see no end from the beginning.
Sounds pretty good.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are Lord of every door that opens or closes, so and things make no sense.
Nice. Now there is a reverb before this, so just when we were tracking I had a reverb on the vocal bus just to cover all our sort of little reverb tracking needs, and yeah, we widen this out, we might be able to push that reverb out a bit.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are Lord of every door.
That's pretty cool.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are Lord of every door.
Cool, so some subtle settings, sweeten the vocal up, sounds pretty good.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are Lord of every door that opens or closes, so
Just helps the vocals sit a little bit more present up front. That red silk's really doing a lot in this tiny little bit of high shelf. I think the Neve, without even going into the fusion side of it, is better suited to her voice and the recording. All right, and then we've got some group vocals in the chorus. Let's see what we can do with that.
So I trust you, oh I trust you, Lord I trust you. So I trust you, oh I trust you, Lord I trust you. So I trust you, oh I trust you, Lord I trust you. So I trust you, oh I trust you, Lord I trust you.
A little bit of bleed coming from the monitors on the day of tracking, so getting rid of that sort of low bass that's sort of sneaking in the mix there.
So I trust you, oh I trust you, Lord I trust you.
That sounds awesome. Let's hear that whole section bypassing this off and on.
So I trust you, oh I trust you, Lord I trust you.
Pretty awesome. So you can see how powerful this plugin is. It's easy to bring things to life, add a little bit of color, a bit of saturation, just sweeten the sound really. And just by doing that plugin across the whole mix, just on those buses and groups, just going top down, we've made it sound pretty polished already without having to do any sort of mixing on a lower level. So I'm pretty impressed by that so far. I think that sounds awesome. Now let's turn these all off and let's do the mix bus, because you know this is one of those plugins that we're probably going to use on the mix bus a lot. So let's see how far we can take the mix with just one instance of NFUSE on the mix bus. Key change. pretty cool. So I'm going to chuck the vocals in now.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you see the sparrow fall. You reign above it all from now to the end.
That's a massive difference for one plugin. Let's switch over to the Fusion side. So now we've got a setting on both sides. We can actually switch between them and audition both sides and see which one we like best.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are God and you are love. Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you see.
So pretty crazy, pretty big difference between those two units. And I think on the Neve side, you can really bring the presence out, especially with that red silk and the Xena drive, can really start to bring things forward. And I think on the vocal at the moment, it sounds maybe a little harsh when we compare between the Neve and the Fusion. I would probably pull that red back a bit or maybe just disengage the Xena drive.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are God and you are love. Sometimes.
So yeah, it's interesting. I like the sound of like the mix and the instruments through this one, but I think the vocals sound a little better on this side. So maybe it's a matter of then playing around and switching the modules up a little bit.
Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you are God and you are love. Sometimes it'll have to be enough to know that you see the sparrow fall. You reign above it all from now to the end. I'm leaving my life in your hands.
That's pretty cool. I like where that's sitting. So that's just how easy it is. Just being able to switch between those settings, find that sweet spot. So pretty cool. Very clever idea. If you guys think this plugin looks cool, then check out the description below because there is a link to Kiive Audio's website where you can go and check it out, grab your own copy of it, and by using that link, you help support this channel as well. And while you're down there in the description, check out some of the other affiliate links. Stuff like Sweetwater Music. If you want to support this channel, you can buy your gear using that Sweetwater affiliate link. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but a small commission gets kicked back to the channel, and that helps support the time it goes into making videos like this. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can go to my website, check out my range of drum samples and mix courses. Doing that is a massive support. If you want to check out another awesome plugin from Kiive Audio, check out this next video coming up where I'll take you through their awesome distortion box, Distinct Pro.